There we go. So it, I was having a conversation with a couple of rescue colleagues, and one thing that I noticed was that fosters and adopters struggling when it comes to taking support and help from professionals or from experts. So let's say, for example, there's a dog who has severe behavior issues, and we need to get the dog in a foster care, or we need to get the dog adopted, and that dog comes in with a package of experienced people to support that dog, a nutritionist, vet tech, and the behaviorist, and everything attached to that. And then all these things are pending; they're available. And then you have this conversation with the adopters or fosters. You tell them all these individual structures, what this has to happen, and then it's not being followed. Like, we haven't said anything. So I was wondering, what's your experience with that? I remember a couple of years back, it was very extreme. It was a dog who had, severe behavior issues with other dog. He was reactive to dogs, and he ended up being in a foster home with other dogs. And we were very clear, you have to set up baby gates up for the dog to have a safe access from the room that he's staying into the outside. And there was no gates up, and there was no safety features in place. It was very frustrating, and it's very often, right? And so my question is, what do you think? Why is this the case? Why do people not paying attention to those instructions? I don't understand the mindset behind that. Is it because there is too much information? Is it because we have a lack of, let's call it, vetting these fosters and adopters? Is it because the instructions are too complicated? What do you think? What's your experience in particular? Another event that happened was, um, in the past, there was another dog who had leash reactivity issues, and so the specific protocol was put in place. And yeah, these people thought they can go with the dog to the dog park to see how real our our recommendation were, and I just don't get it. It's kind of like a thing. Now, what is that thing? What is the idea behind that? Is it ego that comes into place and people says, "Oh, I know better." Behaviorists, trainers, vet techs, I have dogs all my life. I know what to do. Or is it something more complicated than that? Is it something that we look into? Because it's not just one or two rescues. I mean, I know like 15 or 20 rescues I'm working with, and the majority of those rescues struggling with that aspect. So my first thought would be, okay, maybe we should educate the people before they adopt the dog or before they foster the dog. So have them join classes. What is your thought about it? It would be proactive, getting them in the prep class involved so they understand what's going to happen, have this time, and don't have this agony to get the dog. Is it because people don't like to learn? Is it because is this a social thing? Like, we don't trust when we get somebody's dog, so we're gonna shut down and gonna do our thing because we know better? Or is it something I didn't mention? I don't know. I'm really. So if you have a rescue and you're a foster, or you're running a foster system, or you are an adopter, what is your opinion? What made you not follow instructions? Okay? Because I really want to make that an impact. So in my puppy classes, basically, these are proactive classes. So people join the puppy class so they learn what they need to know without doing, you know, extensive research on the internet, and you try to figure out which accurate. So all this is a compact information package to get that information before you get your puppy in your home. Proactive parenting, active parenting rather than reactive parenting, setting up the puppy for success, or the adopter dog that comes to your home, or the foster dog comes to your home. Proactively set everything up so when the dog comes in, everything comes in smooth. Why would people struggling inventing the wheel if the tire shop is like next door? Sometimes it's for free. I know many rescues, and I appreciate that. I like working with those guys who actually offer those classes for free, and then nobody shows up. So is it the price? doesn't cost, therefore it's not of a value? Or should we put a price tag on it so people see a value in it? And how much would that value be? What would you pay for a workshop that you says, you know what, that price indicates there's a value behind that? Beside the blah 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 that comes, everybody can write blah 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 on it until you actually join the class and you recognize like, holy bark, that's a lot going on here, right? um, and sometimes things sound weird. Like if somebody has a concept of how to handle a dog and how to introduce a dog in the house, in a household, some people have a different concept. Like watching TV series or watching YouTube videos and like, oh, Frank, Susie, blah blah, whatever, Doctor Who said this and that. I'm gonna follow his instructions because he has 5,000 followers or million followers. Why would I listen to my rescue? My rescue don't have a clue. They're not experts, right? But also there's another aspect of that, that many rescues are breed specific. They have intense experience and intense knowledge, and they cooperate with people who have also specific knowledge with specific breed traits. And so they're really a bank of without interest. You go and get your information and you use it and you are successful, and the chances to succeed are way higher than to try to invent the wheel, since those people know already the situation, have been through the same process. What is it? What is that makes that a problem? I'm really curious. What's your opinion on that? I need some coffee. Yeah, it's a rant, kind of, sort of, but not really. It is a rant because it frustrates me. On the other hand, I really need to know why. I cannot figure it out. I mean, I'm although interesting because if I get a device, like my wife got a fryer, like air fryer. I'm an engineer from trade, and I was like, why would I read instructions? It's common technical sense. You push that button, and suddenly the thing doesn't work. And like, oh, maybe I should read instructions, but I already make the mistake. Is it that we actually trust too much ourselves, that we have that knowledge and then we're not paying attention to the instructions? Or do we are kind of self-defeating here? Or do are we kind of like, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I try to figure it out. It's kind of like the magic salt. Once you find that salt, it makes everything go better. I wish I have that answer, because that would mean we could create those little classes, short, maybe 20 minutes, like little segments, and people can chew on it over the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever they have time out, even listen while they're cooking or listening while they're driving. It's just information, it just settles in, and it's just working in the back head. Talking about secure attachment, for example, why is it important? What is about imprinting, right? And we don't need to go into technical skills. I mean, many people have technical knowledge, holding the leash and working with their dog, positive reinforcement, you name it, right? This is already out there. But there's a philosophy behind that, and I think this is where the problem lies. We stuck with old philosophies. We think we know the philosophy, but then if poop hits the fan, then we see the philosophy actually didn't work because there are some gaps and missing pieces of it. And how can we convey this information to the end user? It's important, right? And the dog eventually is used to a certain routine and certain rituals, and then we change those routines and rituals, and the dog gets confused, and we have a disaster coming up. What is that? Really, I'm asking that question. I know you guys used him and me talking, but I'm talking because you don't ask questions, or you don't giving me some answers. Maybe you want to take a seat here, and I'm gonna watch you giving the answer. I don't know. What would it look like? What do you think? Yes, you can comment below. um, it must be a social issue. I don't remember in Europe that being the case. I'm European, and we read in they read instructions because I don't. Um, and I remember my dad; he was reading instructions too sometimes. But I remember when he got his first dog, he bought a book and he read out of the book. wasn't the right book. But anyway, he opened the book and read about it. Um, we didn't have internet back then. Everything was in a book or word to mouth. But I saw my father going to a training class. That was good, right? Um, but now with COVID, that thing doesn't work like that. It's different. And so it's very important for us to have this support system in place. But how would that support system work if nobody's using it? Is it for free? It must be cheap. Is it expensive? Oh, I cannot afford that. Then what? What is the key? Is it, let's say, for example, the context? Like, let's give an example here. My class that I have to share, and I give it as an example. Of course, you don't have to sign up. Um, is that text appealing to you? Holistic Puppy Parenting Masterclass? Does it tell you anything, or is it kind of like, oh, blah 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 blah? And even if you read here, there's some things that you can learn from it. Is that still not appealing? Okay, so many things that we have to learn, right? And if we looked at from a rescue perspective, how can we put a title on it so people will actually open it and learn from it? We're trying to be force free, also in the way we communicate with the adopters and fosters. So it's very important that we actually use proper language. I cannot force a foster to watch the class. I cannot force the adopter to join a meeting. I cannot tell him, oh, if you don't do that, you're gonna, whatever. That's passive aggressive at some point, or very reactive. But how can we make it more appealing to people? I guess it's my fault. I cannot even get you answer a question. Like, give me your opinion. What do you think? Roman, you're wrong. Or you know what, you're right. Or you have no clue. Something. I guess it's me. Maybe. Anyway, if I find out what it is, I'll guys let you know. If you find out what it is, please let me know. It's important to me. And I think it's important to help more dogs. If we have these technical tools available for people, we will have less owner surrender or foster failures. I see many fosters actually foster fail because they're afraid to return the dog to the rescue, or they're afraid to the dog go back to the shelter because they think that something bad is going to happen to the dog, which is not always the case. But at the same time, there is support available and proactive and active, and it's not being taken in consideration. That's what worries me. And there will be more things coming in, because if you want to surrender your dog, you don't find a rescue, you don't find even a shelter, because all them are full right now. Okay? Nobody's going to take your dog. What do you do? Now, I don't want you to get to that point of you have to foster fail to save a dog. It's wrong as a concept. The rescue loses you as a foster, right? Because how many dogs will you foster fail? 5 dogs? 10 dogs? I cannot have more than 30 dogs in my care because I don't have enough time for each individual dog. There's a limit, right? I don't know. Anyway, end of rant. Maybe you guys have a lot to text and type, but my time is over and I have to get back to my next client. I just wanted to share with you because, you shouldn't suppress emotions, right? Just like with a dog. And I don't want to keep it myself. It's going to eat me alive. So I shared it with you. Maybe you want to share that too. Maybe somebody on your friends list has that option. Maybe you share the video and says, hey, do you know what's going on here? Like, do you have an idea? Did you solve a problem? Do you see having that solution and that approach gets you more fosters or monadopters joining those pre classes or prep classes? Okay, that will be helpful. Thank you, Stephanie. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is active participation. That's actually helping me understand what's going on here. That thank you tells me a lot that somebody's listening. It's not just me, right? um, yeah. I don't know how is it in other countries. Though I know about Greece and I know about Austria and I know about US. I don't know what's in the UK, what's going on in the UK, what is going on in Holland, what's going on in Sweden, in Norway. Things are different there. What's about South Africa? How about Australia? What's going on there? How are people interacting with the rescue? Are they in a close connection? Are people afraid to tell the rescue I'm struggling? Makes them feel weak or something, or makes them feel they're failing the dog? But we know it's difficult. We know you need help. We know that support has to be given, but we cannot force it on to you. We cannot just push it with the dog, like sign a paper here. And even if it's in your contract, you have to. Nobody will force you to do it. We are a free will plane here. Yeah. Okay. I need to let you go, guys, because I have a dear um, client in Switzerland. She We had to kind of sneak in an appointment. So have a great rest of your day. And thank you. And I'm gonna read your comments. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. So thanks again, and talk to you soon.